Welcome back to another episode of Expat Hoops. We're happy to welcome back Will Thomas to the podcast. The George Mason alum is now in his 16th season overseas. This season, he's back in Malaga, Spain with Unicaja. He's most recently become one of only 7 foreign players to play over 200 games for the club. We decided it was a good time to bring Will back to talk about the updates in his career. So here we are. Welcome back to the pod, Will.
Thank you for having me again.
So the last time we talked, we went through a lot of your career. I think that was one of the early ones. I think it was episode 9. We'll link up to it on YouTube. But the last time we talked, you were with Zenit in the COVID lockdowns, kind of in the height of that. Since that time, though, take us through the last part of your experience with Zenit and what the experience was like playing through the rest of COVID.
It was a different experience playing through COVID without the fans, wearing masks everywhere, traveling. When we left to play in Euroleague outside of Russia, we had to fly in the night before the game, and right after the game, fly right back out of whatever country we were in. We were playing the game in. Um, we were doing a lot of COVID tests almost every day, trying to just stay healthy, keep guys from getting sick. And we were able to finish the season strong. And I think everyone has moved on from that.
Yeah, so obviously a lot of things have happened globally since then with Russia, and they're not any Zenit's not in the EuroLeague anymore. But when your contract was up, you wound up going to another club in EuroLeague. Take us through how that all came together and how you basically spent your time in Monaco.
Well, after the summer after Zenit, I had a brief stay in Unicaja. I think I just decided that that wasn't the right situation for me, and we decided to part ways after a few weeks. And then I was able to sign in Monaco after that, and I had a great time in Monaco. We were able to make the EuroLeague playoffs, make it to the French League finals, and we really had a really successful season, even though we didn't come away with any trophies.
So one of the things you and I were talking about off the pod that I actually kind of thought was interesting was Monaco at that point in time was in their first season in the EuroLeague. They were making the transition. They were a good French team at that point in time, but they'd only been in that league. And so making the transition to EuroLeague, as somebody that was a veteran of that, how did kind of things come together? And if you could kind of elaborate a little bit more in terms of like what we were talking about off the pod with them trying to figure things out kind of in the early stages of that season, and then kind of them figuring out and how to adapt their ways to a EuroLeague type schedule.
Um, I think when I signed with them, they didn't even have the whole roster intact. They were still looking for players on the market for players. I ended up signing. Then a few days after me, Mike James, one of the top EuroLeague players, one of the top players in EuroLeague history, he signed with them, and I think we were the last 2 players to sign with the team, if I remember correctly. And obviously, it was a new team coming in the EuroLeague. They wanted to compete. They wanted to make the playoffs, have a chance at making it to the EuroLeague Final Four and having a chance to win it all. They had the right intentions. They were learning on the fly because they never been EuroLeague before. When you first get the EuroLeague is very demanding, I think, on organizations financially and just being a part of EuroLeague. Every club wants to be a part of it, but they don't really know what the expectations are and how you have to carry yourself as an organization in EuroLeague.
And so with them, did they maybe seemingly prioritize one experience over the other in terms of EuroLeague? And because with a club like that, you're playing in a really high level league in France. but you're also playing with all these other European powerhouses from a lot of different countries. Do you think that with them, that they prioritized maybe trying to finish a little bit better in EuroLeague, or were they still trying to do the best that they could in both?
Trying to do the best in both. We had 16 players, so they wanted to make sure there were enough players to make it through the difficult and demanding schedule of EuroLeague and French League.
And so with that, is that something that whether it's with your experience with Zenit or when you were with Monaco, is it something that when you're talking about that many number of players, is it something that that there's a certain schedule that like there's a certain maybe amount of rotations or something that somebody will be playing in EuroLeague versus like the French league? Or kind of one of the concepts where I'm coming with this is like with the NBA, you've lots of people have heard of the terms, like load management. You could take some of the easy games off, but when you're playing a schedule like that where the French league is no joke, and same thing with EuroLeague, obviously both of those there's going to be a lot of meaningful games. Did you figure out a way, or I should say, did the team figure out a way to essentially say, okay, we're going to emphasize certain people in French league play versus EuroLeague play?
At first it wasn't, and then they ended up firing the first coach and bringing in a new coach, and then he had that type of mindset because he coached EuroLeague teams before, and he kind of went with like a 9-man rotation, and kind of the other guys had to fill in when they were needed.
We have merch. Head over to the Expat Hoop store where you'll find t-shirts, hoodies, masks, coffee mugs, pint glasses, and more.
It's one of many ways you can show support for the podcast, so head over there and pick up some merch. That link below is in the video description, or you can head over to our website, expathoops.com, and click merch. We offer a couple of different Expat Hoops logos, and we have men's, women's, and kids sizes, so you can get something for everyone.
You went through playing with Monaco. We've kind of covered that in terms of from the side of actually playing in the games. But as we talked a little bit off the podcast, living in Monaco, and working technically, but what was that experience like? It's one of the smallest countries in the world, and it's also one of the wealthiest countries in the world. So what was that like being off the court and, not only the fan experience, but also like having lived there?
It was pretty nice. All the players live in France because Monaco is a small country on the side of a mountain, basically, and all of us lived in France. But you live 5 minutes away from Monaco. Obviously, it's very expensive to live there. You have to just find your way around. There's not too many things to do because you can probably walk through the country in a couple of hours, but driving, you can drive through the country in 15 minutes. You basically kind of always see the same people because it's only probably like 10, 12 restaurants that everybody goes to consistently. So outside of that, I guess the good weather, getting it's other cities that's very close that's in France, like Nice, Cannes, Saint-Tropez. I think I'm missing one, but it's other cities that's right there that you can go and visit, and it's kind of the same lifestyle, but the cities are bigger.
And actually, one of the things I probably should have asked you about was going back to like the playing experience while you were there. That is, even though you've spent a lot of time in a lot of different countries, including high level leagues like Spain, this was technically your first experience playing in France. Was there anything that you noticed in terms of stylistically that was a little bit different about the French league as opposed to some of the other leagues that you've played in, or for instance, EuroLeague that you're playing in at that time simultaneously?
France is more like for young talent. I know France has a lot of basketball talent, young players. Obviously, you can tell by the NBA how many French players are in the NBA. It's the style of play out there is not really too much structure. It's more kind of free flowing, up and down, play as fast as you can, try to have an up-tempo game. It was a different style. I haven't played that style. I don't think ever in my career, where it was just more kind of an open gym type of feel to it.
Hmm. That's actually really kind of interesting. So, sort of one of those things that even in your long career, you essentially hadn't seen anything. I would say hadn't seen anything quite like it, but essentially during your playing career, hadn't seen anything like it in terms of league play.
Right. Yeah. It's also they have a lot of very short point guards, and they really thrive in the French league.
Hmm. And so actually that's one of the things that with their NBA talent that's not only presently in the NBA, but also there's several other people that are kind of like on the horizon. You think that French league essentially is encourages people to learn essentially to kind of play like NBA style of play?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. I think Europe is just a different style of basketball because NBA they have all the like the defensive rules and stuff, so it's a lot more space. Here, you're not you have chances to play one on one and show your individual talent, but it's not as much as it is in the NBA.
Kind of the reason why I'm asking is I kind of think that's sort of one of those ones where I think that whether it's Victor Wembanyama or anybody else that might be coming up is essentially what are kind of like the adaptations that they'll be able to make or that they'll have to make. And just speaking generally without actually talking about the individual player. And it kind of made me wonder if that's something that France, with an eye towards putting their best players in the world's best league, I mean, according to some, I guess, that if that's kind of like what they have in mind, just kind of a speculative thing.
Maybe. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of them that if they think they're going to make it to the NBA, they stay in France and they get an opportunity to play. Because if they go to maybe a higher league or a different league, they may not get the same opportunity.
That's interesting because I think that one of the things with actually speaking of Victor is I think that he was with Asvel. Now, obviously, he was young and
Right.
maybe got more time, but it was an interesting to me to see that he went from Asvel to a different club, the Metropolitans.
Right.
And that was interesting to me that that was what he did because you could view it as a slight step down going from a EuroLeague
It
club
was.
to, yeah, exactly. So that would be the rationale is essentially he'd be able to play a lot more, but also maybe the rules as well.
Yeah, he got to play more. He got to show his talent and actually work on his talent in the game. Because with Aswell, he wasn't playing as many minutes and didn't really get to show his individual talents.
Thanks to SeatGeek for sponsoring Expat Hoops. We recently became a brand ambassador for them. SeatGeek is a ticket app that takes the confusion out of buying tickets. They offer a 0 to 10 score on each ticket to know if you're getting a good or a bad deal. Green means good, red means bad. You get the idea. It's a really easy way to get tickets to events. Plus, our viewers get $20 off their first ticket purchase with the Expat Hoops code. Click the link in the description to download the app. Remember the code Expat Hoops, EXPATHOOPS, all one word, to save yourself $20 off your first ticket purchase with SeatGeek.
But after going to Monaco and having a successful stint there, you have now joined, obviously, with Unicaja. But what were your opportunities like at that point in time? And then ultimately, what led you back to Malaga? Because it's a spot that you actually played in the mid 2010s for a couple seasons. And what allowed you to get to this point now?
I think my options out there, it wasn't that many. Even though we just came off a successful season in Monaco, I'm an older player, so I think teams were ready to move on and find somebody that's younger. So I seen what was out there, and Malaga came early. they really wanted me to be a part of the team. I guess the rebuild, because they had been struggling for a few years without making the playoffs. They did okay in the Champions League, and they wanted to get the organization, the team back in a good feeling, winning ways, to have the whole city behind them. And I was interested in that. I guess you can call it a project, and that's why I came back.
So as a player with your experience, what would be specifically kind of like looking for that kind of project? Like what's sort of the role that you've taken? Is it sort of essentially kind of player assistant coach, or what is it exactly specifically, if you could speak to that?
Well, just to add on to what I just said, also the reason why I came back is because I knew the situation here with the organization, how 100% professional they are. The city, the weather is coming back to Spain, how the high level of the Spanish league, and then the BCL is on a rise. So I think it was an easy choice for me. But also, what was your question?
It's kind of essentially like what, because in this stage of your career, is it something that, and having been with this club before, and like you said, they were looking for the veteran presence, is it something that essentially that you are, kind of taking the younger players under your wing, or is it something essentially that if you, or is it just simply that you're the stable presence? I mean, what is it exactly, kind of that you've taken on since being with them?
Being the stable presence. They don't need me to be the Will from, I guess, like 6-7 years ago, that can play 25, 28 minutes a game every night in, night out. They just need me in certain moments. That's basically what you need your vet to be, because you're not looking for them to be their old self, but you need them to do it in moments when the team really needs it.
Outside of that, you've been, like I said, you were with this club before, and in the past when we had you on, you were talking, one might say bragging about Spain and living there. What's it like living there this now second time around?
It's great. It's always been great. Both the cities I've been in, Malaga and Valencia, have been great. Just the cities being behind the basketball teams, really supporting the basketball teams. The food, the weather, there's nothing to complain about.
Well, and also you kind of got a unique vantage point too, because you've played with the club before, so you kind of established something there before. And we solicited for some questions from people, and some of them were actually saying, about how that they've enjoyed watching you play, and essentially kind of saying you're current favorite. So has it been a little bit different, I guess, kind of like when you showed up this time around having already established something, or did you even really sort of notice a difference? I mean, in terms of the support personally, not necessarily as a team, but personally for you?
No, I don't. I haven't seen a difference. Personally, I think with the team, around supporting the team, I don't know. From last season on to now, it's been a lot of support. I think people kind of believe in the team when they put the team together. And then when we came in and started winning and showed a good character out there, that we want to win, that we want to play together and show our best face every game. The fans really supported us, and now I think almost all our games been sold out or close to it.
Thanks again, Will, for joining us a second time on Expat Hoops. Reminder to check out his other videos and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We've got more to get into with Will, though, with some Expat extras, so be sure to follow us on social media and get interactive with us. Thanks again for sitting down with us, Will.
Thank you for having me again.
Hello, and thanks for watching. Be sure to give the video a like, and you can watch more videos over here. You can also click subscribe over here so you're notified when we have new content here on Expat Hoops.